here. I know it's Sunday, everybody should be relaxing at home. I really appreciate all of you being here, especially the judges that, you know, they are taking off from their, weekend and they are here. The student did a great job of putting a lot of time, a lot of efforts, and I think you're going to be impressed by listening to their presentation. I'm going to take time and thank Arrowhead Center. They did an excellent job. They provided mentors, very knowledgeable. So everything went well, and so we are looking forward for the next step, which is going to be, hopefully our team is going to compete with other 15 teams, and hopefully NMSU is going to be the winner, and I'm pretty confident that we are going to do great. Thank you so much, and let's the team get started their presentation.
Great. Thank you, Joel. Yeah, so it's been a really great experience being in this 3-day idea competition concept thing. So we are NMSU's team. We are part of the Invent for the Planet, in case you didn't know what this actual competition is. And I present to you trash.
Hi everyone, my name is Fawaz. So basically we got inspired about an incident happened in the Middle East. That was in Lebanon back in summer 2015. There was some political issue or something that involved with the authorization that brought a problem with the city in Beirut. So there is a lot of waste and mislead the management of waste. So that's brought the problem that to lead misleading of management of the waste that brought a lot of health problem and health issue for the people over there. So we thought about some system that can involve a third party to record the incident for any third party that can solve the problem and monitoring the waste management in the city before to reach that level or the certain point that it's become a health problem or big issue.
And so my name is Alexis Cornides, and so I'm a senior in BIS, which is Bachelor of Individualized Studies. So I started civil engineering, converted into my own individualized studies because I wanted to study more economics and management. So that's what I've been doing on the team.
And I'm Andrew. I'm going for my bachelor's in electrical engineering, and I'm a junior.
Okay, so as I said, that incident inspired us. So we need a system that make efficient to manage the waste and to monitor remotely the waste in the city or especially in the third world countries. So and we brought that problem to solve it and solution.
Yes. So one of the many things that can lead to a problem such as what happened in Beirut, that certainly was an extreme case of trash overflowing, is just poor monitoring of the receptacles in areas where trash is deposited. Many cities throughout the world, trash is not billed per the household and collected per household, but rather there are collective or communal collection and deposit locations where the truck will come and collect several households' trash. And that's not just confined to apartment complexes. So in other words, the city is the trash customer, not the resident. And so when that is the issue, it can be very possible, and it does indeed happen, where the trash container overflows. And when the trash container overflows, not only is it unsightly, it provides bad odor, trash on the ground creates water pollution, and it's more work for the trash collectors, lowers property values, a whole range of problems. And so being able to monitor that provides benefits not only for the public but for the collection company. If the company can monitor the amount of trash entering its system by volume per collection location, it can optimize its system, whether that be by more strategically placing containers throughout the city, or by optimizing its routes, hitting the more heavily used containers more frequently. It can save a lot of money that way and provide a better quality service. And so possible solutions of going about that. One trend that has been talked about in the smart city concept is a smart trash bin. That is a trash bin that can monitor the level, the amount of trash, and how much of the capacity of the bin is being used. And while there are many advantages to that, of course it would be an expensive system to set up. You have to retrofit every bin in the city, which can potentially be thousands, and then that requires a very substantial mobile network. Well, if you don't want to make that initial investment, if you don't want to maintain that network, well, what do? You can just, why not just make a smart truck? This is a prototype, a very early prototype of what such a apparatus mounted to a truck may look like. Depending on the type of truck, is going to depend on where the device is mounted. So there can be many possible ways to mount it, and of course a customer, that being the waste management company, would have to consult with us, and we would help them mount it to the truck properly. Waste trucks, when waste is deposited in the truck, the waste does not all go into one pile. There's a pile of waste that enters the truck, and then once it enters the truck, then as the truck leaves, it pushes that waste into the main waste compartment where it is then compacted. And we can exploit that by monitoring the waste as it enters the part of the truck before it gets compacted. We can then tie that to a location or collection point, bin or whatever, and then consider the amount of trash coming in per location. Ultimately determine a volume flow rate per collection location.
So can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah, and so as Andrew was talking about, one of the problems with the solutions that we found today, we found some competitors that are trying to do maybe like sensors that go into trash cans or things like that. But everything that we found is reactive, right? So it's only to let you know when something is full. So our monitoring system is proactive. So it's about collecting the data that you get from those flow rates to then be able to predict when there's going to be some overflowing in some part of the city. So that's our big differentiator.
So basically the overall flow chart for the system is the device is going to be the input. So it's going to be installed in the truck. So this is going to record the data as my colleagues explained, the GPS, and maybe can add like the weight also. That's going to go to a company database or the third-party database. And it's going to explore to analysis tools, and from that can be generate reports. For example, can be calculate the KPIs of the company, how it's acting in the city, what is the performance for this company that act in the city, and that's actually in the developed country going to close the way that some small company or the West company they met using corrupted or some, you know what I mean. So that gonna keep them in the track and going to involve the third party to monitor them. Also there is loop, like if we need like more data from the truck. This is the overall for the system, how it's work like.
And then you go to the next slide.
Well, I think there's a little bit of the justification. Just to hit a little harder with some of the benefits of this system. As I said, the network is a big issue with the smart bin system. If it is tied to the truck, potentially you don't need a mobile network. That could benefit the company, but potentially the data can be stored on the vehicle, on the truck, and then pulled from the truck every night and entered into the company database. So areas without mobile networks, that can be very beneficial. And when all the monitoring is tied to the truck, which is owned and more importantly controlled by the company, it provides a less risk of vandalism, damage, because the truck is stored in a more secure location. And is location-based, and not only does it help with the containers, but it also provides the company the opportunity to monitor the drivers. Are they doing their routes? Are they doing the routes in order, as scheduled, and are they making all their assigned stops? Very important, and it also helps solve some of the management problems in companies. And if your system is not a collective collection points, say you are billing per customer, like many systems in the United States do, knowing the amount of waste coming in per customer is still beneficial, because say your municipality and your landfill capacity is at its limit and you want to reduce the waste. If you could potentially, by knowing the amount of volume that each customer is throwing away, you give them, say, a discount toward his bill if he's not throwing away as much waste. Incentivize them to reduce the amount of waste.
You go to the next slide. Yeah, so then the feasibility of the project on the actual business side of things. So as we pointed out, there's a lot of benefits that we offer that our competitors don't offer, right? And competitors are indirect, direct, and also a substitution, which would be something as doing nothing about this waste problem. So as you can see, there's a chart for that. And then, would you like to talk about materials?
The materials, so I provided here a sample bill of materials. Most of the stuff, high estimates, and for what we would do building a prototype at about retail cost. We would include a computer device in there, such as a Raspberry Pi controller, and then camera module if we decide to go that route, or we could just use a more inexpensive USB webcam, which could lower the cost. Not as integrated of a solution though. DC to DC converter, that's important because the truck has a 12-volt electrical system and the electronics are going to mostly run on 5 volts. A GSM module, so if you want to tie it into a mobile network, that would be an optional addition. Casing, of course, it's going to be in a fairly harsh environment, so good equipment housing is necessary. Lighting, because the back of a garbage truck is going to be dark, so the area needs to be lit. Which brings the total cost to about $78. And if you retail a thing for $150, we can make a good profit on each unit.
So our calculation for the market share, first of all, we decided, we found there is 136,000 vehicle in US, and if we target 10% of the vehicles, estimate our market share estimated like 2,040,000. Since US West market in US is considered as a 25% of the global, so we multiply this number in 4, and we got the number the market size, which is 8,160,000 for as a globally.
Yeah, and then so our timeline to launch would be our concept stage is what we're doing right now, coming up with the prototype prototype concept for March, which would be when we would present the prototype and then go into research, some primary funding from grants, things like that, manufacturing, some funding from maybe outside investment, and then our launch.
And are there any questions?
Yes. My first thought, of course, is is recycling taken into account in any of this? Are you just solely focusing on trash?
Yeah, so I can answer that really quick, which is we're only focusing on trash, but what we could do with this technology is, it's huge, but based off of some methodologies that we teach at one of our entrepreneurship office, it talks about a beachhead market. So it's trying to step into one niche market, and then from there you expand. So this is just our market share in this market itself, but we can always expand into other things.
Also, I want to add that the data can be useful. If there is, we can upgrade the system as to add like more sensor that identify the materials and everything and provide it for recycles company that make their jobs is more easier.
Okay, because that was one of the things, is just assuming that everything's trash, but of course not knowing the market, it's hard to answer or really ask that question. But this prototype then that you guys came up with, is this totally from scratch? Did you guys build this in the last 2 days?
Yes. So basically, what it is it's just a USB webcam. Is our camera device, and then we have basic lighting equipment, just some LEDs tied to a battery. Obviously, not sufficient lighting for a full garbage truck, but for say a dumpster that would probably be enough lighting to take a picture of the amount of trash in the container. So proof of concept sort of thing. So we pulled in some stuff that we already had and then constructed the circuit for the LEDs and put that together. What we have not done thus far is a computer controller, that is software. However, I have found some research where for smart bins, what they've done is taken a photograph and they say color photograph, convert it to grayscale, and from grayscale to binary, that is just pure black and white. Since the trash contrasts to the wall of the container and thus the garbage truck, they can the binary image shows that contrast so that they can determine the amount of capacity of the container being used. And so, of course, knowing the volume of the container, you can determine volume